Hi guys, it's Dakota. Hope everybody's doing well. So today's topic is about fear or fears and and the synchronicity thing. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that um, a couple years ago when I wanted to do YouTube, and I actually started, I did like one or two videos, maybe three, and I deleted them and I removed myself from YouTube. And anyway, I have a list of topics and discussions and things that I thought I would want to talk about. Well, I didn't really have anything planned for today. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. So I pulled out the list to see if there was anything interesting in there. And there was one topic and it said fears, but it didn't have anything else on it. Like it didn't say, fear of this or fear of that. Like I don't know what I was thinking, or where was my head during that time. And I just kind of thought, I don't know, I don't know. So anyway, a couple of days ago, one of the things that I haven't been able to do at my shop yet is my tarot readings. I do not, and please, I don't anybody get upset. This is just me. This is just me. I don't do readings online. For me, it feels very impersonal. Now, that's just me. I like to be across the table from my client, and I like that connection. I have had only ever in my entire life one reading that was online. And really, well, the reading, it wasn't, it didn't touch on anything, to be quite honest with you. It really didn't. And it was horrible because you just sat there staring at the screen, and she was just yapping about the cards and this and that. And I mean, every once in a while she would ask, does that make sense or something like that? But there was no connection with her. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do that again. So, um, when I started reading tarot for the store, I did not want to go online to do it online. So, but but I miss reading tarot for my clients and my customers. So the other day I decided that I wanted my cards, I wanted to not only interact with my cards, but I wanted to give them some interaction with my customers. And how could I do that? So what I did was that morning I got online on our Facebook page and I said, I'm going to shuffle the cards, and it's not even a with an intention. I'm just shuffling the cards, and I'm going to lay 3 cards face down. Card 1, 2, and 3. I'm sure you've seen this on somebody's page. It's fun. It's a little fun thing. And I laid them face down and I numbered them 1, 2, and 3. And I said, what I want you to do is I want you to just look at the cards and pick a card that you're drawn to. Is there a card that you're drawn to? And then put that card in the comments so that we can go back to it later. And tonight I'm going to flip the cards and we'll read the cards. So long story short, I was going to try to do the readings this way, and it was taking too long, and so I canked that idea and I did it live. So I went live again a couple nights ago. I think it was last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. You can still go on there again. Like I said, you can go on there and see it. But anyway, whatever night it was, it doesn't matter. I went live, and so I told everybody, okay, make sure you have your numbers, you know which card you were drawn to, and we're going to flip the cards one by one. This is not going to be a massive reading. I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight to that card, and then you will see if that resonates with you. Maybe it's something going on with you, maybe it was something you needed to hear, and maybe it's something that's coming up. Don't know. And maybe it's nothing. Maybe it doesn't resonate with you at all, and that's fine. So anyway, card number 2 was and I used the Witch's Tarot, and card number 2 was the 8 of Swords. See if I can get the glare off of there, if you can see her. So it's the 8 of Swords. And so there you have her standing in this circle of swords. Her hands look bound behind her back, and she has a blindfold on, so she can't really see where she's going or what's happening. And if you look back here, there's like a body. It looks like a body of water, maybe a lake or something like that. Big river. But anyway, there's a body of water directly behind her. So that was card number 2. So when I flipped the cards, because I didn't look at the cards beforehand, I just flipped them when I was getting ready to do the readings. As I was doing them, I was flipping the cards. So I flipped card number 2, 8 of Swords. And so I looked at it, and the first thing that entered my mind was, this is about, for me, and for that night, this was about fear. This was about being bound to your fears, because, or your lack of confidence, or you might have a lot of self-doubt. Because when I look at this card, this drawing on this 8 of Swords, let's be clear, because cards take on a different meaning when they're next to another card, or if the querent has a specific question. So just this card, this drawing, I said, her hands are definitely behind her back, for sure. There's no doubt about that. But are they bound? Well, I don't know, because I can't see them. She could very well just have that rope around her waist. This could just be, like a cord, a priestess cord or whatever, wrapped around her waist. And maybe she just has her hands behind her back. And she does have a blindfold on. Could take on a lot of different meanings. But for me, when I pulled it, I went, wow, that is a card where she feels bound by her situation. She feels fear of moving forward or stepping back. If she steps back, she could fall in the pond. If her hands are bound, then she's going to drown. If she steps forward, she could possibly get, sliced up by swords, if we take it literally. And so then, as I looked at it, I started to kind of get that feeling like fear. This is the fear. And I went, wow, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, she's afraid to move forward. Even if she stepped ever so gently forward to where she feels where the swords are, maybe she could slip through, and if indeed her hands were bound. But we don't know if the hands are bound. It could just be she is bound by her own fears. She doesn't want to see what's in front of her. And she's already dealt with the past. And the past is what keeps her trapped in this, to where she doesn't even want to bother to try to see what's in front of her. She doesn't want to try to get out of that. A lot of people get into that situation where they feel bound by their situation. Um, People become very comfortable. I know this is going to sound really contradictory, but I've actually been in this situation. It was years ago, first marriage, where when you're in a situation and you know that situation, so you know that you know the expectations of that situation. You know that this is going to happen, that's going to happen. It's not going to change. You know that already. So there's a comfort in that. You may be sick to death of it. You may not be comfortable in that situation at all. You may be afraid in that situation. You may have an enormous amount of fear, and therefore you feel bound. Well, to the point that should you be able to loosen your grip if your hands are bound, would you? Would you lift the veil, the blindfold, and be able to see that you could easily get out of that situation? It might take some effort, but you are able to get out of that situation. And a lot of people don't want to. They don't want to get out of that situation. That's comfortable. Moving forward, we don't know what that's going to be like. Maybe it's going to be worse. But hey, maybe it's going to be better. But we don't know. We're afraid. So I'd rather stay in an unhealthy situation than risk what's on the other side of those swords. So there's this fear. And that fear can consume you. The more it can overwhelm you. And the more you give in to that fear, the more isolation happens. The bigger the fear gets, the more power the fear has. The more power it has, the more you feed it so that it won't be so hungry and devour you. But all it does is grow and has more power over you. So we have to learn how to face our fear, at least acknowledge our fear, and then we're able to work through it. So one of the things that I teach in a meditation classes, when I have people come to me and go, like I probably have 10 out of 10 people who take a meditation class and say, I'm taking this class because I don't know how to meditate. No, yeah, you do. No, I've tried, but I can't do it. Yeah, you can. I'm going to show you how. And what we do is called a mindful meditation. And the mindful meditation, all that is, like our mind, thoughts go through our head so quick you couldn't keep track if you wanted to. You couldn't keep track of what your mind is thinking to save your life. So in meditation, when, the instructor's up there, close your eyes, take a deep breath, try to relax everything, your mind is just shoo, 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 spinning, racing. You hear a little bit over here, and it goes right back to where it was. You're thinking about work, the kids, the relationships, the jobs, that person made you mad. I mean, you're just thinking about everything, right? So in mindful meditation, what we do is we teach you how to acknowledge the thought and then let it go. So if I am closing my eyes, try to relax, and here's what my mind goes. Thinking about laundry, thinking about work, got to go to the grocery store, got to pick up the kids, got to do this, got to do that. I mean, I can't even say it as fast as the thoughts are spinning in your head. In mindful meditation, this is how we teach you. Acknowledge it. I'm thinking about the laundry. I'm thinking about job. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about this. We think about it, we acknowledge it, and we let it go. We don't get mad at it. We don't get mad at ourselves. We don't get frustrated because we already know. You already know you're going to have the thought. so we don't get frustrated. No reason to get mad. That's how it works. Acknowledge, let go, breathe it out, breathe it out. It's the same thing with fear. So acknowledge the fear. What is it? Dissect the fear. What is it about the fear? What is it that you're afraid of? And acknowledge it and work on releasing the fear. Once you start to release, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen over a week. This is a process. This is an ongoing process. It takes time. It takes patience. Once you are able to release the fear, or the fear isn't as consuming, you've stopped feeding it, that allows, now you have some open space within you. Now you have an area of breath within you that has no fear. You have space within you that has no fear. And that starts to grow, because as soon as you want to feed the fear, you can go to that happy spot, that positive spot, because you released something and you allowed something positive to come in. So I see this a lot, where people think there are evil demons and spirits and ghosts and wicked beings and stuff in their houses or attached to them. They've got something attached to them, and I think two things. Honestly, I think two things. One is, I think that something caused that reaction. If it was a spirit or some baneful thing, then fine. Let's face it and remove it instead of allowing it to control. Because when it starts to control, we lose the ability to think right. We feed it. We lose our ability to accomplish goals, to do things that we want to do. We're no longer able to do those things because we are just so ate up with fear. Oh, I can't do that because I've got this, this demon attached to me or whatever. And I'm not making fun. I'm really not. I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying that's what happens. It's the thought pattern that just devours our logic and our mind. And so we need to work on acknowledging it and then letting it go, breathing it out and letting it go, releasing it. So, okay, so that was so first I had the thing fear on the paper and I went, nah, I'm not going to. And then last week I pulled a card and it resonated with me as afraid and being bound to that fear, to having a couple of incidents that happened over this past month or so with COVID, fears of that and different types of activity. And I just thought it was interesting when this morning I was on a website. I was reading somebody's blog about something that had nothing to do with fear. Trust me, had nothing to do with fear. And you know how over on the side there's like little ads and different things? I went to scroll down and I clicked on one of those little things on the side, and it took me to another website, and it was a person who was a psychologist or some kind of therapist. And the title was Fears and Phobias. And, you know, at first I started getting into the conspiracy thing, like Big Brother is reading my mind. And maybe that is what it was. But I read that. I read part of it. And although I'm coming from a spiritual witchy kind of point of view on fears, they actually did too. And or not witchy, but I mean things that they were saying was kind of the same thing that I was saying. One of the things it said, like, it lowers your immune system. Fear lowers your immune system. Pardon me. It messes with the way that you think and act, and it takes away your logic. I mean, these are the things that it was saying. And one of the things that it did say, though, is that it's okay to feel fear, because fear is a natural human emotion. Even animals, I mean, animals have fear. And so it's a normal thing. And actually, fear can be helpful in certain situations. Speaking from a spiritual situation, uh, place, how many of you walk in someplace and you go, this doesn't feel right, and you leave, and then you find out later that some weird thing happened right at that spot. So fear is also a good thing, but we don't want to become attached to our fear. And I think that's what happens a lot. We become attached because we know the fear, and so then it becomes comfortable. And the other thing that happens, and not to everybody, but I have seen this happen, it also becomes a way of getting attention. And that is not healthy. That is not healthy. So, I'm sorry, I just jumped a minute right there, talking about fears. I'm sitting next to this wall, this wall, and I heard something go plop, 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 like feet climbing up the wall. We have rough cut lumber. This is a cabin. We have rough cut lumber on the outside, and the squirrels climb it. So that's what it was. But you see, I didn't go like, oh my God, what was that? I'm talking about spirits, and now there's a spirit in the house. No, I'm pretty sure that was either a bird or that was a squirrel. A squirrel, most likely. They climb. Anyway, I just thought it was really interesting that fear came up on the paper, and it came up on that card, and then it came up. I wasn't even reading that, and I hit it, and it went over there. So that brought me to the subject of fear, and don't get so attached to fear. We can go on and on and on about fear and shadow work and all of that, but just know that acknowledge the fear and don't let it consume you. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it devour you. Chances are, it's not demonic. Chances are, it is not some evil, wicked thing trying to get you. Chances are, it's not. Chances are, what are you bound to? What do you need to let go of? What are you afraid of letting go of? And sit with that for a moment, meditate with that for a moment, let it go, work on it. And in the meantime, I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.